listening. We are live in Los Angeles, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1. 15 minutes. Former Panther, Giant, Viking Chief Jeff Schwartz, offensive lineman. He's great. His brother, Mitchell Schwartz, playing for the Chiefs, starting for the Chiefs on the O-line. And they're saying now wind chill in Kansas City will be minus 15 degrees. It's going to be the coldest NFL game in a half decade. Arctic blast, advantage New England.
I am not built for that.
Oh, no, Lord. I went to college in a cold place, and then I went and lived in Connecticut, what's a cold place, and I really preferred living in Las Vegas and here, which is not a cold place.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is also known for having the capability of getting an Arctic blast.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
They have blizzards. It's the same kind of weather as Connecticut or Kansas City.
You know, I think there's 3 teams this weekend, the Patriots, Rams, and Chiefs, I think could win games on a neutral field, home and away. I got to tell you, I don't feel it with New Orleans. I don't think they could beat the Rams in L.A., and I don't think they could beat them on a neutral field. I think if they do beat them, it's because they're at home. Here's an interesting thing. Seasons, don't look at a season holistically. Bill Belichick, historically, September they experiment. Early October they experiment. By Thanksgiving on, they're great. And they're always best in December and January. He's the best coach ever, and it's incredibly, incredibly predictable. Andy Reid has generally been great September, October, early November. He's had trouble finishing later for a variety of reasons. Maybe he's a play scheme designer. He spends his offseason creating new offenses, takes people by surprise early in seasons. By the end, you've seen his new stuff. I'm just making that up, but that's what it could be. But I want to show you something very interesting. I think you break seasons into quadrants. I think September and early October are one season. Then the weather cools, injuries, October to Thanksgiving. The next season's Thanksgiving to mid-December, and the final season is really, really cold weather and the playoffs. Let's look at the last 4 games for all these teams. And there's 3 stats Vegas cares about. Vegas doesn't care about all of them. The 3 that Vegas believes are, what are you averaging points per game? What's your output? What's the point differential? How much are you winning by? And what are your yards per play? Those are considered in Vegas numbers that matter. Vegas loves yards per play. Vegas loves point difference. Historically, if you end up with a number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 point differential, you're playing in the Super Bowl. So of all the 4 teams, New Orleans is last in the last month. Last in points, last in point differential, last in yards per play. But I know Saints fans are going, well, Colin, Teddy Bridgewater played in one of those games. All right, then let's eliminate that game. Oh, wait, they're still easily last in points per game, almost by 10, point differential by 30 to 40 points, and yards per play by at least a half a yard, almost more. New Orleans simply doesn't pass the eye test in the last month. Let's be honest. That game's in Philadelphia. They don't win it. Does everybody understand what Philadelphia overcame to have the ball late? They lost all 3 of their top defensive linemen for various parts. They lost their best interior offensive lineman early. They lost their top corner, were on a 4-string running back, and a backup quarterback. They were on the road for the 5th time in 6 weeks and dropped a key potential interception and a key catch from the usually reliable Alshon Jeffrey. Philadelphia had the ball at the 30, driving for the win. They don't pass the eye test. Terry Bradshaw from Louisiana, Saints fan growing up, said, just watch them. They don't look the same as they did 2 months ago.
The thing that bothered me was the last 4 games of the season, they had not looked good. And I said on the air, you can't put a key in the car and turn it on and when you're run, and away we go, Jack. You can't do that. And on the commercial break, I told Howie, you put a key in, you turn it on, but with the Saints lately, you had to pull the choke out.
There's some truth to it. And the other thing is, I think the Saints got a couple of breaks this year. First of all, their division was awful. Cam got hurt. Carolina was bad. Atlanta walked into the season on crutches, and Tampa's Tampa. So that gave them big advantages. Their division was bad. They also played most of their key big games at home. They hosted Philly. They hosted the Steelers. They hosted the Rams. The other thing is their schedule worked out, so they got a injured Cam Newton in Carolina both times late in the year. That's not to say the Rams didn't deserve the accolades. They do multiple things well. They have a Hall of Fame coach and a Hall of Fame quarterback, a star receiver, and a very good running back, and it's hard to run the football on him. But when I look at them overall, last month, the numbers, the ones Vegas cares about, they're last. Even if you eliminate the Teddy Bridgewater game, they are easily dead last. I don't think the Saints are playing well. And when I think about the games this weekend, like if you tell me in one sentence, describe why New England would win this weekend, the first thing I would think of is Belichick Brady. If you said, okay, why would Kansas City win? I'd be like, well, Andy Reid Mahomes, MVP quarterback. If you said, why would the Rams win this weekend? I'd be like, McVay, Todd Gurley, O-line. If you say, why would the Saints win this weekend? You know what I think? They're in the Superdome. So I think they're incredibly vulnerable. I picked the Saints to get to the Super Bowl and win it, but man, Breeze is going to have to pull this one out because I just don't like what they've looked like for the last month. All right, let me shift to this. I said last hour when Joy and I got into this discussion, in the summer every year, I'm fairly accurate, about 60, 65%. I pick division winners. I pick teams. This past year, I said the two teams I thought would go downhill were the Minnesota Vikings and the Jags, and they did. There were certain teams, I missed some. I said the Baltimore Ravens were a dark horse Super Bowl team. That was pretty good. I also said the New York Giants would be good. That was a terrible pick. But I think more than usual, 60% I pick games, 60% I'm about right in my preseason predictions. I would take Philadelphia next year to be the best team in the NFC. And I think it's highlighted by something. I tend to judge people how they deal with crisis. If your kid hits a home run at a Little League game, every dad is cool. But what if your kid strikes out 3 times and the last 2, the umpiring was terrible? How's dad act then? Judge people on how they act in crisis, because that's who they are. They say alcohol is truth serum, so is crisis. People at their point of stress become who they truly are. They can't fake it anymore. The Philadelphia Eagles, this Nick Foles, Carson Wentz situation has been a mess. It's a mess. It would unravel most NFL teams. They came into the season on crutches. They're on their 4th-string running back. Their secondary is a nightmare. This quarterback situation, the media is saying it's a dilemma, and I think it's the opposite. What this Nick Foles, Carson Wentz quarterback, quote, dilemma has proven to me is this is the best-run football operation in the NFC. People in Philadelphia think I don't like the Eagles, and I question whether Doug Peterson, who didn't even call plays in Kansas City, was the right guy. I was wrong. He is. I've said that multiple times. But Cleveland needed a quarterback. They traded away from Carson Wentz. Philadelphia needed one. They traded into him. And he will be the quarterback going forward, and he should be. 6'5", big athlete, great arm. But when I think about the Philadelphia Eagles, what they're doing, injuries, quarterback situation, on the road, didn't get a single break this year physically. And they were going in the Superdome, winning drive to beat the Saints in the Superdome. Listen, the New York Giants can't even handle a 1 quarterback situation. God, they can't figure out the Eli thing. Philadelphia's got 2 capable quarterbacks and has handled it brilliantly. Wentz appears to like Foles. Foles appears to like Wentz. They both appear to like the general manager and the quarterback and that head coach. This is not a dilemma for Philadelphia. It is actually an illuminator. For them to deal with this quarterback situation and there not be a bump in the road tells you this is an incredibly well-run organization. This is an incredibly well-run organization. The Giants can't figure out the one quarterback thing. They got two guys who could start. The star is watching the backup win a Super Bowl. And every time I watch Philadelphia, I'm like, complete and utter harmony. You see it as a weakness. I see it as a strength. And I don't think it gets in the way of what will be next year, going forward, the best team in the NFC, Philadelphia Eagles. The whole thing's been magical. It's unbelievable.